Hi, everyone. Joining us today is Richard Liley, Head of Business Transformation at Austal. Austal is Australia's premier defense and fast ferry shipbuilder, and they serve the global market. Thanks for joining us today, Richard.
Thanks, Greg. Hi.
I'd like to get started with kind of that big buzzword in the room, so to say, business transformation. It's one of the most popular buzzwords now, next to digital transformation, I'd say. But that's kind of part of the problem. A lot of people just treat it as another buzzword. What is it to you, business transformation?
Um, well, to me, personally, I guess it's about how we evolve the business to meet our strategic goals. We're in an industry where we need to evolve constantly to stay competitive, and part of that is making the business run much more efficiently. So we're looking to leverage technology to do that. We're looking to upgrade our existing technology. Unless we keep evolving the business and transforming the business, we're not going to stay in touch with our competitors. That's the key motivation for us having a high focus on business transformation. And I guess it's part of we've been a innovative business for many years, and so we're used to change, and we're used to really looking at ourselves in the mirror and working on ways to be better. So in some ways, it's a bit easier in this business, I think, to go through that transformation journey. But it's very exciting.
What makes you say that it's a bit easier in this industry?
I think shipbuilding is a unique industry in the fact that we don't build prototypes. We're not like aircraft manufacturing. We're not like vehicle manufacturing. We're not spending years and years developing a prototype manufacturing product and then sending it down the production line for the first time to iron out all the bugs. And once we've done all that, we can start building. Our prototype is the first of class, and in our business, often it's the only it's not a fleet build, it's a commercial customer, and we're doing it once only. So we've got to get it right. And to do that, I think you need to be a flexible organisation, an organisation that's willing to try different things, an organisation that can roll with the punches and deal with setbacks and stuff like that on projects. So I think our mindset is open to working out ways to be better and to change, but then there's also people within the organisation who are really comfortable with the way they're doing things, and they know they've got a formula that works. So it is a balance. I wouldn't say we're perfect in that regard as an organisation, but we're certainly willing to take challenges, and that is just born out of the nature of shipbuilding as well.
You mentioned the word being comfortable. Is part of the transformation being a bit uncomfortable, maybe, with how you've been doing things?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I say that we're up for a challenge at any given time, but we also have a bit of a formula for the way we build ships and design ships in the business. And when you ask people to tweak some of those methods and use different tools to get better outcomes, you need to convince them that that's going to be the case, and you need to take them out of their comfort zone and make them look at things in a different way. So that's part of my challenge. It's a personal challenge for me as well. Having been with the business for quite a long time, I've got to make sure that I'm taking myself out of my comfort zone as part of this role, and helping to bring my colleagues on the journey as well.
What are some of the top line goals of the transformation? How would you kind of define success?
Well, ultimately, we need to be more efficient. We want to be able to produce our ships more cost effectively. We want to make sure that our processes are safe in the shipyard. We want to be able to be providing better quality outcomes for our customers. In particular, the transformation project needs to deliver a better product to our customers. I guess those are the three main lenses that we're putting on the transformation project to make sure that as a business, we're becoming more efficient. Where possible, we're adding processes that make the shipbuilding process safer, and then driving a better quality product as well. And that may just be in the richness of the data that we can provide with the product, particularly for our defence customers. The digital twin, or all of the associated documentation is particularly important for those customers. So as we move into this, particularly the digital transformation side of things, we can provide such a richer data set to those customers. So as the ships enter their service, they've got so many more things to help them maintain the ship and understand, and understand how reliable the ship's going to be, and model that reliability and all those sorts of things. So, they're the key things.
Yeah, you mentioned efficiency, and that's another one of those almost buzzwords too. Like, everyone wants to be more efficient. How are you guys measuring that, or what are you looking at when you say you as an organization are going to be more efficient?
I think fundamentally for us, you're right, it is hard to manage. I mean, we've got a number of KPIs we use in the business to measure how efficient we're being, and that's part of the transformation process. Convincing the business that some of the things that we're doing are going to drive those outcomes. So for us, as we go through this transformation project, I think the current one we're in, I think the main thing is just accessibility to data across the business and reducing waste in the business. We think there's a great opportunity there in all parts of the business, be it finance, supply chain, production, design, transforming our business so that our data is much easier to compile and create and access and measure. We think can drive great outcomes, and I think in this age where there's these technology tools coming online that give you so much more access to data, then it enables you to measure the business efficiency in ways that you haven't in the past. So we're really excited about that as well. That gives us much more access to data to measure performance in different parts of the business, and then focus in on and that may not be something that's the technology that. Focusing in on that may not be a technological solution, but we may find something in the business that we hadn't been able to see before because we just didn't have that data available to us. So that's where we see the opportunity to really drive that use of data to understand business performance. And the other part of it, I think, is, as I mentioned before, shipbuilding is unique, and so the design process is very important, and the way in which we can, I guess, solidify that detailed design and make it much more accessible and mature and integrated for our production process, then that's going to lead to opportunities for us to reduce waste in the production process as well. So we've got a big focus on that as part of our transformation viewpoint as well.
I wonder if this stat that I'm going to mention resonates with you. It's come up a lot. It's a McKinsey stat. 80% of digital transformations fail. Sometimes you see 75, sometimes you see a bit more. Does that resonate with you, or is that in your experience? Is that true?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen projects that we've tried to undertake in the business across a number of years where they just haven't stuck. And we've spent a bunch of money. We've taken people away from their jobs for periods of time to focus on these things, and they just haven't stuck within the organisation. So we're absolutely aware of that as a risk to business transformation projects, and I guess that's why someone like me, who I'm a naval architect. I've spent years in the business in all sorts of different parts of the business. I'm by no means a digital guru and understand the technology as well as the people I have working for me. But a key part of my role is to make sure that we're consulting with the business. We've really got the business on the journey with us. We're putting all the things in place to make sure that this is going to stick once we roll various aspects of it out.
is that one of the strategies that you help make these transformations stick? You mentioned collaboration, communication. Kind of what helps you mitigate failure in these types of
Yeah,
situations?
absolutely. Collaboration and communication is probably the key things. We've got SMEs all throughout the business who are embedded in our transformation project that we're working on at the moment, just to make sure that their voice is really being heard. Where we're asking them to change the way they do things, there's real buy-in and ownership, and they're helping shape the solution. So the business is really driving that solution rather than a bunch of consultants or IT experts or that sort of. We want the business owners to really drive the solution and make sure that what we're going to provide in the end is what those areas of the business need. And then there's if you're going through big organisational change, you might be asking people in the business, various people in the business, to do more than they are today, so that others can do less. So you've got to be able to have that buy-in, at an executive level, at a heads of business level, and then make sure that the people who are actually going to be doing the work day to day are really bought in and understand the change. And if they are doing more, understanding why they're doing more, giving them the context around that, and making them understand that that is then driving benefits downstream or upstream within the business that ultimately gets us a better outcome, gets us more customers, gets more of our ships out into the operating environment.
Yeah, it sounds like people are a real pillar, right? It's not just about the technology or the process. People
Yeah,
play a
key.
huge role.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think if you go into a business transformation project without that at sort of the forefront of your mind, then as you say, these transformation projects could fail.
You had touched upon it a bit earlier, in just that shipbuilding is so complex, it's unique, and one of the realities of modern shipbuilding projects that, especially that Austal takes on, is that there are so many tools, systems, individuals, departments that need to work together. And so, how do you manage all that? How do you work with so many disparate um, information sources and connections that need to all integrate together? What's that like at Austal?
Well, I mean that's a key reason of why we're on this business transformation project that we're on at the moment. We're probably like many shipbuilders around the world. We've sort of grown up organically. 30 odd years ago, we were building small crayfishing vessels for the West Australian rock lobster industry, and today we have major vessels for the US Navy and the Australian Navy and all over the world. So we've grown up over those 30 years, with sort of different types of systems and processes in place, and there's been cases where different parts of the business have sort of gone off and done their own thing and worked out these little ways of making the formula work, so that we can deliver those ships. But often that means there's a lot of unnecessary complexity in the business because people are all off doing their own thing. So a big part of it we've matured a lot over the years, but a big part of the project we're on at the moment, is to help bring all that back together. So again, it's just engagement right across the organisation, making sure that everyone understands their role in the project life cycle, and that's both building the ship and supporting the ship. And so we're part of our transformation project just is to engage right across the business, really map out our business processes as part of this. So it's not just bringing in the technology; it's really mapping out the business processes so everyone can see their part to play in that process. And it means that there's a few more rules within the business. There's more discipline that parts of the business need to follow. So we're moving away from those sort of bespoke little work methods that work for certain parts of the business, and we're moving to a more consistent way of doing business, so that the whole process flows and everyone on the value chain is getting what they need when they need it. So yeah, that's certainly a challenge, but the technology is great because it gives you the opportunity to bring all of that sort of disparate data and process together into, a single place or one or two places. But yeah, it does mean some organisational change. It means a few more rules and processes and procedures, and certainly a different mindset and discipline in the business, so that everyone's marching to the same beat.
Yeah, speaking of technology, SSI is one of the partners of Austal on their business transformation journey, and Austal is currently in the process of implementing SSI's shipbuilding PLM solution. So I wanted to ask, what challenges did your team identify that made shipbuilding PLM the right tool for your shipyard?
I think, as we said before, I guess my last response, having a couple of systems where you can really bring all of that data together, and a PLM, really enables us to do that, and particularly as we for our more complex projects with defence customers in particular, there's a real need and desire to have a very detailed data set that you deliver with the ship, the so-called digital twin. In years gone past, you deliver a whole bunch of ring binders with operating manuals and certificates and all sorts of stuff in it. And these days, we can probably deliver 1,000 times more data to the customer that they can then use through the in-service support phase of the ship. And we're developing some technology in that space as well, around our asset management system and how we provide the best possible service to our customers once the vessels are operating. And so the PLM, is really key to that, key to pulling all of that data together in one spot, making it really accessible, both for our people through the shipbuilding process, enables us to really strike a baseline that describes the vessel's configuration on day of handover, and then that's a great starting point for our asset management team, our in-service support teams to provide really great service and understand the material state of the ships at any given time once they're in service. So again, it's about just a great tool that allows us to bring all of that data together from all sorts of different sources and have it in one place, so that we can easily access it for our own benefit, to drive efficiency through the business, but probably most importantly for the benefit of our customers once the vessels are in service, and having this great detailed data set that really provides all the information you could possibly need in relation to the ship.
And just as a business transformation is a journey, I would say that implementing a complex solution like a PLM is also a journey. Where do you get started, and where did Austal get started?
We've been looking at PLM solutions for a number of years, and it probably took us a little while to settle on a product that we wanted to use. The shipbuilding PLM product suited us well. We've been using the ShipConstructor tool for probably 15 years now in the business, and so the native integration between ShipConstructor and shipbuilding PLM obviously made our lives a bit easier. But yeah, you start with a requirement set. We start with understanding what information we want to pull through into the production environment, what information we want to pull through into the in-service support environment, what functionality we want, and we start on the journey. We map out our requirements, which we have been in collaboration with SSI, and we start on that journey bit by bit, testing, prodding, poking, understanding how well it suits the needs of our business. If there are any shortcomings, what are the solutions to those things, and so that's the journey we've been on, and it's been going well. It hasn't been without challenges, both on our side and on SSI, but we've got as I say, we've been had a relationship for 15 years, so the collaboration and the relationship is good, and I've got great confidence that we'll work through that, and we'll end up with a great solution for the business, and and it will serve us for many years.
And now I kind of wanted to turn to a look at the future, at the near future of Austal and technology and business transformation at Austal. For a lot of shipyards, a big part of the digital transformation involves new digital innovations like AR, VR, IoT, all these other buzzwords, robotics, for example. Is Austal looking at these technologies at bringing them into their information and digital tool set?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're doing a bunch of stuff around machine learning and those sorts of things at the moment with our control and monitoring software. We have our own control and monitoring software, MarineLink, that we've been using on our vessels for 20 odd years. And again, that's a great repository for data. We're essentially controlling or monitoring every system on the ship. And so we've evolved that into a product called MarineLink Smart. We've got a number of our customer vessels and on some other non-Austal vessels as well. And the idea is that that's taking all of that data and providing feedback to the operators to provide a better customer experience. So, it might be giving some guidance to the operator about how they can make the motions on the vessel at any given time a bit better and more comfortable for passengers. It might be giving some guidance around, how to trim the vessel to get some more fuel efficiency out of the vessel, make it operate more economically. So there's a bunch of stuff we're doing in that space, which is really exciting. We've got a R&D department and they're working on that. As a focus, we've been dabbling in the robotics and cobots and those sorts of things. We've got a robot in our US business, so we're certainly looking at those. As I said, shipbuilding is a unique industry. We have a number of machines within the business at the moment that take out a lot of our labour, and looking at robots is certainly a focus for us. We're working with some local Australian industry groups to look at opportunities for that. We've been looking at the additive manufacturing process, 3D metal additive manufacturing. That's very exciting for our types of vessels. Our high-speed ferries are all built around, how efficient can we make the structure of that vessel? How light can we make the vessel so that it can go fast? And as we move into, we're also looking at zero-emission vessels at the moment, where that becomes even more important. How do you make the vessel as light as possible to make those power requirements as low as they possibly can be, and so that using battery technology, you can really have a viable product. So the additive manufacturing piece means that the geometric properties of structural components are not bound by what you can buy from an aluminium supplier or a steel supplier, and what you can physically weld. You can the world's your oyster in terms of the geometric makeup of a structural component, which makes it much more efficient. So I think it's still early days in terms of that, but we've certainly been doing some work in that space, which is really exciting. I mentioned our zero emission vessels, where we've got a number of concept vessels, and we've a number of engagement with potential customers around electric vessels, and that's really exciting. The technology is ready now, and we've seen a number of electric vessels around the world, and we think that suits our product really well, just through as I said, the nature of our high-speed, lightweight aluminium structures. So that's exciting. The other one, in terms of sort of leveraging that new technology, is the EAM, the enterprise asset management tool that we're developing, and how we use all of that data. So if you've got a fleet of ships and you're doing maintenance on a pump regularly, how do you pull all of that the data back into your asset management system and try and start do some predictive maintenance modelling and these sorts of things. So yeah, we're looking very closely at all those sort of industry 4.0 type concepts. Yeah, we are a little constrained by the nature of shipbuilding, but there's a lot of opportunity that we're very excited about.
Yeah, I think that traceability that you're talking about is so exciting to a lot of people in our industry. So yeah, it's great to see you guys working on that at kind of the bleeding edge.
Yeah.
And just finally to end off, I'd like to ask you personally, what are you excited about for the future at Austal?
Well, yeah, no, I'm very excited about this current project that we're working on, the business transformation project, because I can see that that's really going to bring some great benefit to the business. So that's probably the first thing I'm really excited about. I think it will truly transform the way we work in some ways, and I think it's going to, as I said, enable us to be more efficient, more competitive, provide increase the quality of the product we provide to our customers, just through the depth of data we can provide, or the product itself. So that's what I'm most excited about. But I am really excited about the emerging technology, the robotics. We've got some in the Australasian business. We've got some exciting prospects coming up over the next decade or so, which will really give us a great opportunity to start testing some of that technology. I'm really excited about the emergence of zero emission vessels. I think we're really on the cusp of that. We're going to see that happen quite quickly. So the emerging technology and how that will impact our product and the way we do business is probably something that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, thanks so much, Richard. It was great to talk with you today. I know I'm certainly excited to follow along with Austal and their transformation and see how you guys get on. It sounds like you're well on your way, and it's an exciting time. Sounds like.
Excellent. Thanks, Greg. Nice to chat.
Thanks so much.